like a mess.
No, shut the fuck up. You look like a nurse. You look fine. You look like a nurse, okay? You look like Victory. Like, I did that shit.
I finally got it over with.
Yes. All right, this is my baby. Her twin sister was in this class. How many years ago?
6 years ago.
6 years ago. They look exactly alike. In fact, her husband, I usually stay friends with you guys till I die or you die. I want to do this first. But her sister's husband put all the pictures up when I moved up here. So it's family, right? You know, it's like the mafia. You can't get out.
You can't get out.
So one of the funny stories about her sister, and you really have to hear this in case you have the same idea, don't do it. Her sister was in class and she was bumping along, doing her little thing. And then I've had this on the board, do not take your test before infectious disease lecture because it's 22% of your grade, of your test, I should have said. And I don't know for what reason, but I guess she was doing her, and so she decided to take her test anyway. And right before she went to go take her test, her hilarious behind was in here for toe-to-toe. Now she's recording like you guys are recording at toe-to-toe. Everybody records me at toe-to-toe. She's on the recorder after toe-to-toe saying, I don't even know shit today. And she took her test that next week. Now, of course she failed. With flying colors, because A, I didn't tell her to take it. B, she never went to that. C, she came to toe-to-toe and quote, didn't know shit. So it was just so funny because then when she came back, and like you all will do, and I don't judge, I don't charge, I just said, come back, let me hug you. And then she came back, that next toe-to-toe that we actually had, everything I asked y'all was her test. The IV, the tourniquet, the gauge needle that you need. We were talking about crutches. We were talking about all this shit, and it was on her. She goes, oh my God, I'm so mad. And then when she came to that, she had 22 questions from that lecture on her test. She has photographic memory. It's crazy. Now, so she said to her sister, don't be stupid,
Don't
she
be
told her.
stupid.
Go to that class.
Yes.
So tell them how you did it.
So I graduated in, I graduated August 30th, 2024. And I already knew I was coming to Shelly. I knew that. My aunt knows Shelly. My aunt sent my sister to Shelly. I knew Shelly before my sister started coming, so I knew I was coming to Shelly. But with my job, they had gave me so many days off so I could do my clinicals and so I can go to class. They like, we can't give you Tuesdays off. That's not happening. So I was like, dang, I'm gonna have to figure it out. So I paid the fee. I came and had my consultation, and Shelly was like, you got this. And she was asking me questions, and I was like,
She had no idea.
I don't know that. We didn't learn that in school. I didn't get that. So I came to toe-to-toes, and I came to boot camp, and I did my first class was the infectious disease class, and my sister was like, don't miss that class. Like, you need to go to that class. So I was like, okay.
Now.
But I kept telling Shelly, like, I need you to be on me. Like, I'm not that good. I'm a terrible test taker. My anxiety go over. I start overthinking the question. I add stuff to the question that's not in the question. So she was like, that's not what the question asks. I'm like, but what if? No. So I was like, okay. So the last toe-to-toe, I was like, I just don't know. I don't know. So I couldn't come. And so I was like, listen, I'm just going to do what she said. I'm just going to follow along on the videos on YouTube. I'm going to take out my packets. I'm going to do the packets. So I did the packets and everything. As it started getting closer, my sister was like, oh, you need to take anxiety medicine before you take the test. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you need to do this, you need to do this. So as the test started getting closer, I was like, oh, God, I got to crunch these papers and I got to crunch these things. So I just was watching the videos. When I drove, I watched the videos. I took my little binder to everybody's house because if I could sit at your house and watch TV, I could sit at your house and study. When I was driving, my daughter started answering the questions because we was watching the videos in the car while we was driving.
Not the baby. You brainwashed the baby.
She was like, "Mom, that's not
Y'all
it. That's not what the
me.
questions say."
They hate my boys.
So we kept doing that. So the week of my test, I literally went over every pink packet. But I kept going over like I would do a pink packet and I go to the OMG packet. I would do a pink packet and I go back to the OMG packet. And then I watch videos on breakdown of the questions, and I watch Shelly video on the breakdown of the questions and what to expect. The day of my test, I found out an hour before the day of my test, my cousin passed away. And I was sitting in the house like, okay, you got to give yourself a pep talk. Listen, whatever gonna happen is God's will. Ain't nothing you can do. You got something to do. You got to take a test, because I know I get over emotional. I didn't take the anxiety pill because I felt like, as bad as my anxiety is, I passed nursing school. So without any medication. So I'm like, I'm gonna take this test. But one of my coworkers was like, I think your problem is you try to take the test straight through. She said that didn't work for me. I had to take breaks. So she said she would take a break.
Take your breaks.
Every 25 questions, she would take a break.
Wow.
When I took the test, I think I was so anxious. I got to 30. I said, crap, I ain't take a break. So I had to raise my hand like, I need a break. Went outside. So I did every 30 questions. I took.
You went outside?
No, we can't go out the building. Only in the hall.
Okay.
So I just walked. I walked the length of the hall, and then I prayed, walked the length of the hall, prayed, and went back and took my test.
I think that's a really good tip. We tell you, because some people decide they just want to take the test and not take any breaks. We tell you, please take every single break that you're given. You're given a break at 2 hours. If you want one before that, I'm with her, take it. And then you get one, I think, at 3 hours or 3.5, and then the last one, like right before. But take every break that pops up on your screen. It's critical that you reset. Just resetting can get you on another pattern of thinking that might be more beneficial than this first pattern, the first hour. Because I tell you like this, when you sit down to take your test, the first 20 questions or more are the hardest in the test bank. So you start thinking, oh my God, I'm not sure like I'm gonna do this. But really it's by design, because they're trying to see if you're going to be one of those nurses that passes their test in 85 questions. Remember how that goes? You can pass an 85, you can pass a 95, you can pass an 105, you can pass an 150. But in order to pass you an 85, how could they do that if they didn't give you the hardest questions in the test bank? Because we're not going to give you easy starting out. Because then I'm telling you, you are a nurse until the day you die, and I gave you a bunch of easy questions, you're gonna kill everybody. They're starting your test off really difficult on purpose, so that they can see if we don't need to waste time on her, she can get out of here in 85 and be done. So that mindset might get a little discombobulated and make you think, I'm not doing that great, I don't know if I'm gonna pass, and just walking around. Getting some air, saying a prayer, doing whatever you do. Peeing, how's that? There's a thought, let's go pee. So, I mean, just coming back saying, fuck this, I'm not finna lose this test, this is my life, I'm finna do this. That is enough to get you back in the game, okay? And what's the rule? As long as they're still giving you questions, you're a fucking nurse.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't get discouraged over what you just did. You still got a test to pass, okay? And you passed when? How many?
And 85 questions.
You weren't playing. You and your break, everything. You weren't playing.
No, like at 84 it blinked, and I didn't even know I was at 84. So at 84 it blinked, and I was like, oh my God.
I wonder why it blinked.
And then it came back, and I was like, oh. So then it was like, I looked, I'm like, 84. So I got, and in my head I said, I got one more question. So I took the question, and then it blinked again. It was like, one moment please. And I was just sitting there like, oh my God.
Just happened.
I'm like, oh my God. But I still had time. I still had like plenty of time. I took my time on questions.
What time was your test?
My test was at 11:30. I got finished at 1 something, like 1:30, 1:40.
Did she do it right or not?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously she did it right. But I mean, did she do the timing right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she started at, you said 11:30.
And I got there kind of a little early.
12:30, and you got done at?
Like at 1:30, 1:40.
At 1:30. So how many questions per hour minimum? 30, right? Can you go slower or faster and be okay? Which one? Slower. Not faster.
I thought I was going
This is a test
fast.
where you take your time.
I thought I was going fast.
You was a little
like,
fast, but you did fine. You did everything the right way, because 30 questions per hour, and that's your goal. When you go home, I'm saying this so when you go home and you do your U-World, you try to time yourself. 30 questions per hour, and you figure 60 questions for 2 hours, right? So if you're 85 and out within 3 hours, you pretty much did what you were supposed to do. That's what's up.
Yeah, I had 5 case studies.
Oh, that's not bad.
Which I thought was like crazy because my friend was like, you only gonna get 3 case studies. So when I got to 3, I was like, oh, I got 3 cases. Then it was like another case study. I'm like, wait. So I had a case study.
Minimum is 3, right, guys? Right. On 85 questions, minimum is 3.
I had 5. I had OB.
You might not want to tell them.
Oh.
At least not while we're doing this recording.
Yes. But it was like what Shelly said. Like, I did those pink packets religiously. I did UWorld, and I will say the only thing I did do different is the week of my test, I did 85 questions every 1 to 2 days. Did you hear that? She got herself ready for the real test, which is this up here. That's why we have you do 85 or 150 once a week at least. Well, it's actually twice because you got a couple things going on here, but we have you do that so you know what it feels like to sit there all day long. Because if you're just doing 5 and 5 and 5 and 5 and 5, well, what are you doing? Because this was to prepare you for how bad it might be to do 150 all at once. That's what that first
homework is up there
time
for.
I didn't take breaks, and it was difficult. But then once I started taking the breaks, even in my practice, I was like, okay, I gotta take breaks. And that was a coworker had told me, and I'm sure Shelly told me, but I was like, the test is at the end of the week.
And this was your first test?
Yes, this is my first test.
How about that, guys? That wasn't bad at all.
Thank you.
I love it. What made you, I think people that are listening or watching this later will say, okay, well, she graduated in August. How come you were so patient about not going maybe when your friends went?
Yeah, because everybody passed in my class.
To just know this stuff really well.
Because I wanted to know this stuff really well.
Tell them where you're going to be working.
Oh, I'm going to be working at Sideman Cancer Center at University Hospital, blood cancer.
Chemo certified cancer. Yes. That is not an easy job. That requires an incredibly intelligent person to do that because you're going to learn a whole lot. It's going to take you a whole year, like of orientation kind of thing, to learn as much as you're going to learn.
But I waited because I didn't want to rush it. I didn't want to just assume I knew the stuff. And then when I came to infectious disease, I realized that a lot of stuff Shelly went over, I didn't know coming out of nursing school.
What school did you go to?
Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
And I had really good teachers and stuff, but it was just some stuff they just didn't go over. It was like the basics, standard precautions and airway precautions, droplets. I even had a question that Shelly gave me. And it was like, airway, droplets, and I was like, I know it's one of these. And my crazy butt remembered that question, another question. So when I finished the test, I Googled it and I knew I got it wrong. And I was like, I got 2 questions wrong, I failed. No. I was like, oh my God. But my twin sister she is so amazing. She would call me out the blue, like, you got a 75-year-old patient, they presented like this, and I'll be at work like...
She would be quizzing her, like, for real. She was shut.
What? I was like, don't think I'm at work. And she was like, you gonna be at work all the time, and your patient's gonna be having this. I'm like, so I'm like at work trying to Google, and look, I'm like, she just did out the blue. But when I took my test, I came home and tried to sneak past her to check and see if I passed.
Did you?
I did. So she kept saying, I don't know, twin telepathy. She's like, what is you doing?
Twin telepathy.
I was like, I'm looking at my emails. And she was like, what did you do? And I'm like, I'm looking at my emails. I was like, okay, Dominique, I took my test. And she just screamed, you passed. Oh. I was like, you don't know that. Shelly said you can fail in 85 questions. She said, you had 85 questions? I was like, yeah. She's like, I had 280 questions. I was like, she was like, give me your computer. And she just logged in my information. But she did the trick where you got to see if it'll take your card.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Oh,
but when I went to schedule my test, it kept trying to make me pay a fee. I had to end up calling to schedule my test. So I thought she was lying. My sister made me sweat all weekend because I took it on a Friday.
Oh, never do that.
Only because it was like, if you take it Thursday, you got to take it 8:30 in the morning. I didn't want to roll out of bed.
Opening for later.
And so that was the only option. And I just had this feeling like it's time to take your test. Like, I didn't even call Shelly. I'm like, I just had this feeling. So I was like, okay, I'll take it December 20th. This would be a great Christmas present, right? That's what I said. I said, if not, then ain't nobody gonna know I took this test.
We tell you, don't tell nobody.
So she took my computer.
She didn't tell anybody. Like,
no, I didn't tell nobody. Like, even with me finding out the bad news before, I was just like, I gave myself a pep talk in the mirror, and I was like, go do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
And
with
so
the death in
she
the
did
family.
it. It didn't take it. So unbeknownst to me, my sister checked the nursing board and see my name. But she made me wait all weekend. So when I called her on Monday,
I need a better twin.
I need a better twin.
when I called her Monday
I was gonna do a shout out,
screaming,
but now no.
I called her Monday screaming. She woke up screaming. Her husband like, what is going on?
Yeah, her
She's
husband's
like, my
funny.
sister's a nurse. She's like, oh yeah, but I knew because I checked the nursing board because I didn't have the patience to wait.
She didn't have the patience.
I said,
to
so
wait.
you made me sweat all weekend knowing I passed.
When
Like
did
I
she find out, like, a
stalked.
Saturday?
Yeah, I stalked that website. Like it just kept saying test taken. I'm like, I know I took the test, result my test. And she knew. Like she was like, Danielle, did you get your email? I said, no. Stop calling me. I didn't get an email. I'm waiting for an email. Like you stressing me out.
And
Dolly.
didn't get an email.
No, I got it. I literally went to work, checked the website. It said test already taken. I said, Danielle, you tripping?
Is this a Pearson View website?
Yep.
Okay. That's the problem.
I
Her
checked the
sister went to the board of nurses.
She went to the board. I didn't know that you could look on the board of nurses. So,
She does.
so I prayed, and like I swear, as soon as I said my last word of my prayer, my email was like ding,
Oh!
and I was like,
I'm a nurse.
and then when I looked at it, it said congratulations, LP and R. I just started screaming in the office. I was at work screaming. They like, are you okay? I was like, y'all, I passed my boards.
Right, I'm out of here.
So I was like, so happy. So I found out that Monday after I took my test.
Now, when do you start?
Monday.
Monday.
I start Monday. This is my last week of
All
work.
in on Monday.
Yes.
I love that.
Me too.
You got 1 week of crazy to do.
Super
This orientation's hard. It is the hardest thing you're gonna do.
But-
So I want you to study your EKGs, and I
Okay.
want you to do. I know you don't have your UWorld, but did you have NCLEX 4000 or anything?
No, I just
Dominique
did
got it?
UWorld and
You
like
need to do math questions.
I didn't have no math questions.
No,
on
your orientation.
Oh,
You're about to get a
okay.
math test,
Oh,
and you can get canned if you don't pass that math test.
have
Okay,
mercy.
so
You
we
shouldn't
need
have
to
told
do-
me that.
Ah, I should have just let it happen because
Thank
she's so
you.
anxious.
I
Find
am
that pill
still-
your sister tried to
I
give you.
and I did. Like she gave it to me, and I don't know. I was like, if he took me through nursing school, then
He should be
he
able
can
to.
take me through this
He's gonna
test.
take you through the math test
Right.
too.
So I was just like,
But we tell you, as soon as you
He can
pass,
take you to that
study
business
math,
deal.
study EKGs, period. Because you're gonna get both.
yeah. And I'm so happy to get rid of my books, y'all. Y'all don't understand.
Oh, she did something else for y'all. She gave you guys note cards. So whoever needs note cards, they're here.
Yes,
She is
that's-
paying
they
it
right on it,
forward
Blake.
for note cards. And they're colored the way I tell you need them. Yes. So you want to just come on up here and get busy with it because they're just as cute as they can be. And what would be your advice to the babies before we close out?
I would say to them pink packets are golden. They like literally like the questions and stuff like in my mind I was just thinking about like this question was in pink on my paper or this question was in red. I would say take your breaks because why not? Like when I went and walked the halls and stretched and it like your eyes just get tired and
Ooh,
I feel
true.
like that helped to take my breaks. If they offer you to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Because I didn't think I had to pee, but when they said yes, I was like in the bathroom. And I don't know if it was my nerves or whatever. And don't
Did you
get.
eat before?
I did. I did what she said. I ate. I didn't get no sugary drink. I had some water. And I didn't get caught up in when my classmates and stuff called me. Like, I passed my test. Because all of them took theirs before.
Yeah, way before.
Way before me. Like I waited because sometimes I feel like you need a
individual.
little extra. You just need to know that you got to be confident in yourself. You'll get the feeling when you know you need to take the test. And I just didn't. When they was calling me, I was like, "Oh, good for you. When you take your test soon?" That's my answer to
They always
everybody.
ask.
Soon. And I think everybody in my class passed except for one person. But I would take my breaks. I would study them pink packets. And I found that driving and listening to the stuff, because my biggest thing was like, am I really retaining this or am I not? But you'll be surprised how much you retain by just listening.
You was listening to her.
I was listening to her.
Video.
I was listening to my lectures from school. I was listening to that. And I'm telling you, my
we
daughter
were
is
allowed
16.
To record in school.
Yeah, my daughter 16 was answering questions like, "Ma, I think this the answer." I said, "Well, let's bet. Let's bet, and whoever get it, you get the money."
And she's never.
She
gonna
beat me
forget that.
sometimes. She beat me sometimes. I'm like,
What's she doing beating you?
how did you know that? Like, why did I get that wrong? But she beat me sometimes. But my kids, they was on point too. Like, mine, did you study? you need to take a break.
Role model.
It's okay. You know, like it's okay to take a break. And I literally tuned everybody and everything out.
Yeah.
If it
Be
wasn't about working
selfish.
these kids, then I ain't go out, I ain't kick it. Like, I was at family gatherings with books, like, or with my headphones on. And they got tired of that too, but I showed up.
Lucky I came.
Right, so.
Christmas and that.
But I also think that the toe-to-toe helped, because in my case studies, I thought about, like what you said, like, come on now, what you think you're gonna see with this disease and stuff. And I feel like that's why I got it, because I was remembering how to break down the questions, or what the question was honestly asking me. And I didn't overthink it, like, oh, well, in the real world, this ain't the real world, this is a test.
What's a test?
So I think all that stuff helped with me doing it.
How about that, y'all? RN.
Yes.
I love it.